I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya.
There were protests expected at this morning's Flagler County Commissioners meeting over Captain's Barbecue at Bing's Landing, but no.
The Hammock community had planned to be at the meeting today with its more than 1,800 signatures on a petition to stop the restaurant's expansion. But County Administrator Jerry Cameron says there's nothing to present at today's commissioners meeting.
It became obvious to us that we weren't giving the board two viable positions for this, and that it didn't make any sense to have all of that controversy with no foreseeable outcome.
Cameron said the Joy Ellis of Hammock Community said her group would agree to a specific piece of land for the restaurant, and Captain's made an offer at the commissioners' last meeting. He said, however, that commissioners wanted something more definitive in detail. Now, everybody's back at the drawing board trying to come up with a proposal on which commissioners can vote. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
This portion of Flagler's Morning News brought to you by the Daytona Beach International Airport, Sunwing Airlines nonstop to Toronto, and now nonstop service to New York City via American Airlines.
A state lawmaker representing Flagler County gives strong support for a bill that would ban so-called sanctuary cities that's headed to the governor for his signature. John Arking reports.
After months of debate, both the Florida House and Senate passed the legislation that would require local law enforcement and other state agencies to honor an immigration detainer request by federal law enforcement. Democrats worked hard to exempt schools, emergency responders, and firefighters from the bill's mandate, calling it an anti-immigrant bill that would have unintended consequences, but in the end were defeated in that effort. Republican State Representative Paul Renner.
This is only in circumstances where you are arrested for a crime, and just like we would hold somebody that was wanted in Georgia until they could be returned to Georgia to answer for this crime, we hold someone who is here illegally who also commits a crime for the federal government to come and pick them up. And so the arguments by the Democrats who uniformly voted against this bill was about immigration, about all kinds of things that have nothing to do with this bill. If you are here illegally and otherwise obeying the law, this bill does absolutely nothing to you.
Business groups also were opposed, noting Florida's reliance on immigrant labor and urged a veto by the governor. But that's unlikely, as Governor DeSantis campaigned on a promise of passing such legislation and made it a key talking point in his inaugural address. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arkin.
It was incorrect, immature, and short-sighted.
That's Flagler County Commissioner Dave Sullivan, who's adamant that he wants the Bunnell City Commission to rescind its decision condemning the Flagler County Commission. Bunnell City Commissioners were infuriated by the Flagler County Commission's decision to move the Sheriff's Office Operations Center out of the county seat and to Palm Coast. The move has led to several battles between council members on each commission.
We've done a lot to support Bunnell over the years, like the fire department, and I think it'll be worked out. But my stand is that was kind of a very short-sighted recommendation they made without really working it through. And worrying about hurting somebody's feelings for a while is not the way to go.
Flagler County Commissioners' decision was unanimous. They say Palm Coast is rapidly growing and seeing an increased need for service. Bunnell commissioners have called the move unconstitutional. A Flagler County Sheriff's Office K-9 takes a bite out of crime, literally nabbing a career criminal. Here's Tony Magoo with that story.
Stephen Janvrin is 32 years old and already has a 10-year criminal record. On Friday afternoon, a woman called the sheriff's office showing concern for her friend Janvrin. She said that he was driving around making suicidal statements and that he was in possession of a gun. Janvrin has an arrest warrant out for sale of methamphetamine and the unlawful use of a two-way communication device, so deputies responded right away and found Janvrin driving on Canal Avenue. Corporal Robert Tarzuski and K-9 Deputy Tag apprehended Janvrin, and afterwards, Janvrin led deputies to the location in the woods where he had stashed his firearm. Today we have another poison peddler off our streets and in the Green Roof Inn, thanks to our deputies and K-9 Tag for bringing this guy in, Sheriff Rick Staley said. Janvrin was transported to Sheriff Perry Hall Inmate Detention Facility and is being charged with aggravated fleeing and eluding, sale of methamphetamine, and other charges, and is being held on a $16,500 bond. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.